You are now entering the box. Matt, what is up? Thank you for joining me here today.
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. You were asking right before we got started. I honestly just started a podcast because I love talking to people, man. Like, we've met briefly one time, got to talk for like 10 minutes. I had so many interactions like that are so short with somebody that seems interesting just from an interaction like that, that I was like, I just want to do it. You know what I mean? I started watching them a lot, and I was like, man, that's awesome. I just love, like, you're sitting there, like, I don't know. It's a lot of fun talking, learning from people, and hearing everyone's story.
Yeah, it's a cool thing that's really come to light recently, and watching, even the big ones like Joe Rogan, any of the Barstool ones, you see it, and you want to be a part of one, and then you create your own, and then you have that space to create more content and content with local people, and it's genuine and fun conversations, right?
It's hard, like, to stay on top of it.
Right.
Especially if you're like the business owner, like trying to run the business. It's hard to stay on top of doing it. I recently set up like a calendar, like you used it though, and that's made things way easier. So I don't have to have that back and forth to trying to schedule. I'm like, come on sometime. I just shoot them the link, and
that
boom,
was
bing,
super
bang, boom.
easy to use, and it shot me a reminder text yesterday, and then just like confirm it, and that was super easy, just like a doctor's appointment.
Nice.
I mean, just
get
it in,
to hear.
It reminds you, puts it on your calendar for you. It's seamless. So that worked out really good.
Nice. Well, for those that don't know, Matt with O'Shea Builders brought me a nice hoodie. I'm pumped about that. Carhartt hoodie. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's
those
great.
are rare, hard to come by, and we like to do something a little bit special. So.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I love hoodies. I was telling you, I've gotten like two or three hoodies in the last 2 or 3 hoodies I've got. I don't know. My wife is very good at shrinking things.
Well, that one shouldn't shrink, and it's even a size larger than it says, so she can shrink it. But,
appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of in the same boat right now. Got a little competition going on between a few of the guys at the office, and we're going to try and lose some weight.
Oh, nice.
Definitely needed, but, getting into that space is hard.
I've been trying to prioritize health myself more. I'm always so busy with, like, work and kids, so trying to make it as easy as possible. We put like a gym equipment in the house recently. So I can just like, all right, I got no excuses now. It's right downstairs. Like get down there and use it.
I'm pretty avid runner, but stopped during the winter because I religiously got sick each time I ran when it was real cold out. And so I'd go run, then the next 3 days I wouldn't because I was sick. And then as soon as I got better, I'd just go back out and do it again. But we've got a gym at our office, and we've got a trainer that comes in, Bo Bennett,
cool.
with Bennett Personal Training, and
like anybody can partake in it.
Yep, anybody.
Man, that's great.
Yeah,
I'd love to be able to do that someday. I've thought about that with the team here.
Dad is a huge runner and loves working out. And at one point, I think we were providing memberships to the Y, and it was just hard for people to get there. Yeah. And then we moved a few pieces of equipment into the office, and people started to use it more. So we put a shower in. And then we had a trainer come at the time, and she no longer lives here, I think. And anyway, then we got Bo, and Bo's been with us for a few years, and he's done great. Everybody at the office loves him, and really he's become kind of like just one of the people around the office anymore, and does a great job. But he's in there almost every day. Actually, he is in there every day working out with people. So we've been super lucky, and people love it. So
what a great friggin' benefit. Yeah, I wanted to do that here. I was like, I could just get a couple, put them in the garage. And I was like, well, I don't have a shower. Yeah. So why would I do it at the end of the day? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just turned into this thing where it was like there were so many points of friction. Right. And I also wanted to prioritize, like, the other thing I thought of is going to Fit Club that's right there, and I could shower there and come here in the morning. But to do that, I'd have to leave so early that I would not see my kids in the morning. Right. So I was like, all right, this is the way I got to do it, I guess.
Right. And, I still get up early, but I would get up about 4, go run, shower. And by that time, my daughter was waking up. So I was able to get her up, and we get to hang out for a little bit before I left for work. And that's always, that's like the best part of the day is when your kids wake up, because they're pretty happy most of the time. As long as they got well rested, they're pretty happy. But
it's so funny how they could wake up and just be terror. One day. So did your dad start O'Shea or
grandpa? We're 123 years old.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I was way off.
Yeah. So I'm the 5th generation.
And wow.
My cousin and I represent the 5th. My dad's the 4th. And then my grandfather, who passed during the summer, he was the 3rd generation. So
5th. That's so crazy. Man, how awesome is that, though?
Super awesome. Super
I should have known that because I feel like an idiot now. All the
it's a long wall.
Yeah, the wall in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, 5 generations. That's really cool, man.
Springfield's been real good to us. And, I mean, we are forever indebted to Springfield because that's who made us, who we were. You know, anybody who comes to us wanting a building and, you know, we're just super grateful. Springfield's embraced us the way they have and kept us in business so long.
Well, it's crazy. Anytime there is like any kind of project that's major, I feel like it's always... is there even any other large...
So there's R.D. Lawrence and Evans here in town as well, and they're both general contractors, and then us. And
okay.
So
I was gonna say, I feel like anytime there's any large build, it's like always you guys handling it.
We were super lucky. You know, we got the Springfield Public Schools going on right now. Lanphier, it's
oh yeah, that looks cool.
It's super cool, and everybody's super excited, which always makes the project better. And you know, we just wrapped up Williamsville as well, and their superintendent Tipperiti was awesome to work with. I mean, he was like Team O'Shea the whole entire way. So you know, whenever we get to work for somebody like that, it's always, you know.
Well, you guys got it done just in time for my kids.
Yeah,
they'll be going. Well, I mean, it'll be a little while still. You know, my oldest is 4, but I was like, oh, this high school is going to be all set up for them by the time they go there.
Yeah, and you know, one of the guys at our office has recently joined the board and was telling me that I think the school is opening it up from like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. for the residents of Williamsville to go there and like walk the track, play basketball, volleyball, stuff like that. So it'll be a community place, and you can go there and use the facilities cool just like anybody else could.
Yeah.
So
what a great thing. Looked like they had a nice gym too. I haven't seen it.
Super nice gym, but
in person I haven't seen it.
Right. But. It is super nice, and the football field's really cool as well, and it's got the big W across the back of it. And
that's cool.
The Bullets have a lot of pride.
Yeah. No, I went out to the first game, and I was like, they should have put more bleachers out here. I was like, I don't know, is it always this busy?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to sit.
We've got a picture hanging up in our office from that first game up there, and that was a super cool picture. You know, just it was a night game, so you know, or it was late enough in the season or early enough in the season where it was just it was dark out, so all the lights were on. The W was illuminated. It was super cool.
Fireworks going off, the light shows, touchdowns and stuff. It's really cool, man.
Yeah,
that's neat, man. There's so many big projects. It's like it's just crazy. Too.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what goes into the whole process of like building like a freaking hospital or any of those giant buildings. It just blows my mind.
You know, we're super lucky. We've got a team, and actually, let me. So I don't screw this up. I
got some statistics for me.
No, I texted my dad earlier this morning because I was wondering how many employees does O'Shea have, and we've got about 226 employees now.
Nice.
And watching the growth of that, because I remember at one point we were on 10.5 Street until the tornadoes came through in 2008, and they wiped our building down. And that's when we moved out to Constitution, and we actually had just bought that property, and the tornado went through that property as well, but there was nothing on it at that point. So
nice.
We had to move into some remote workspace that we actually had just finished up building out for this company that does satellite offices. And so it's like a disaster relief place.
Yeah.
And so you can set up shop there.
So we need to use those.
So we went there, and then we built the building out on Constitution Drive, and it has been incredible to watch. We started out in the front part of that office. Everybody fit up there, and then slowly had to build out the rest of the office. We're at the point now where we need to build out more of the office, and it's been a really cool journey to watch.
Yeah,
just from
it's
that
an amazing
standpoint.
Space, man.
Yeah.
I got to thank you for hosting Silsa. Tess was awesome.
Yeah.
Great event.
Yeah.
I took her little test thing, brought her back here, and had everybody do it that wasn't able to make it. And that was just, what a great event.
We do a lot of that stuff at our office. So we've got like the birds. You can do like I'm a parrot.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, it's super cool. Just so you can communicate with other people, and then in the marketing department, we just did one with Jeff Nelson, and it's like cogs. There's 6 of them, and so we learned how we all work together to be better. Yeah. And so we do a lot of that at our office, but it's interesting to see how everybody operates and how everybody uses their skill set, and so. I think it's been super helpful, even just to our own little department at O'Shea, and finding out who works best doing what.
Yeah. And, it helps you understand people.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you see like, I was a hyperachiever.
Yeah.
And you can see like the thing. I mean, literally the stuff it says on there is shit that goes through my mind. And it's like when you see that for somebody else, what they are, and like see things that run through their mind, it's like, oh, okay, I understand them a little bit better now. It's like it almost like allows you to appreciate their faults or something more, understand their faults maybe.
Totally get that. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We, it's been, I know, super helpful within each set of teams that we've got, whether it's superintendents, foremen, project managers, project engineers, construction administrators, everybody at our office, each little group's their own little team, and we got to all come together, but having the communication skills to work together and best appreciate everybody's perks and their flaws, you can leverage that to get the job done the most efficient way possible.
Yeah. So you mentioned your marketing department, and obviously, I love marketing. Right. How big is your guys' marketing department?
So it's Bridget Ingebrigtsen. She's my work mom, and Brittany Hinton. I knew Brittany in high school, so Limper always comes to my mind. Then she got married.
I do that too.
And then Ellie, and then we've got mixed in is our HR department with them, and that's Tess, Josh, and Shy. And so,
can't believe you got all their names.
Yeah. We just had our company party, and then we held it out at the LRS hangar. And cool. I remember, or not remember, it was just Saturday, but watching everybody come in. And so I took a picture whenever I left, or I had gone out to the bathroom, and I came in and seeing all the tables full. We had thought maybe 185 people, and surpassed that. And it was the first time we'd done it in 4 years, and it was just like, holy cow, there's a lot of people.
Space out there.
Super nice space, super cool space. They've got it going on out there.
We were out there for the Shoes and Brews or whatever. We did a table out there, and that's cool. Great space.
Yeah.
My brother worked for them for a while, so I'd been out there one other time, I think. But yeah, he's got the spot.
Yeah. You just got to get a few planes and a few cars.
Yeah, exactly.
You got it.
So how big is O'Shea's footprint? How far do you guys go and do work?
We've got an office in Peoria, Champaign, Decatur. We do quite a bit of work in Bloomington as well. So we touch all the towns within that region. And then we've done some work up in Geneseo, up towards the Quad Cities.
Okay.
I think that's about as far as we've gone that way. And then Litchfield area, I think, is about as far south.
Nice.
So.
Dominating that Central Illinois, baby.
We love Central Illinois. It's
a great space.
It's a great space.
Big, pretty big cities.
We got some big cities and some big manufacturing. Like in Bloomington, you've got State Farm and Rivian, and then in Peoria, you've got Caterpillar, Natural Fiber Welding, both hospitals there, Bradley. So there's lots of ISU in Bloomington.
Yeah. And the schools. That's a lot.
Yeah, we did. We just finished up the Decatur public schools. Those were really cool projects to do. Decatur's, they're a tight-knit city, and so it was super cool to be a part of that and be able to do the schools for them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is your kind of role that you do with O'Shea?
So, I do the community engagement, and just getting out and putting the O'Shea faces to the O'Shea brand, and I do a conglomerate of things, everything in between. Yeah. Even when Bridget scuffs her car up, I'll get the scratches out for her, and Jared will appreciate that, her husband. But helped out with the Lanphier Trades Network, so I went to their class at the beginning of the year, helped them out with the project. They built the Santa house that goes around on the trailer. And
like the one they have downtown or whatever? Cool.
Yeah, I think there's the Easter Bunny in it right now.
Yeah.
And so I helped them with that. And then they've got Trades Network where they go around to the different unions, learn about the unions, and it's kids that are interested in blue-collar work after school, you know. You don't need a degree to have a super successful career.
Oh, my God. And, I know. Who was I just talking about that with? I was like, it's so crazy, like, you don't have to go spend a bunch of money on college. You can get done if you just go to a trade school. I mean, you can come out of those making, I mean, you probably have a better idea than me, but like $30, $40 an hour or something? Yeah.
Like, some even more than that. And your package for most of them sits around the $70 to $120 mark per hour.
Jeez.
Because we pay some of that in expenses, and so that includes your pension, your benefits, anything you can really imagine is in that other portion that you don't see on your check.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's kind of one of those things that I don't know personally, but it seems like a lot of people talk about how there's less people going into it.
Right.
But I mean, probably doing stuff like you're talking about is, I would assume, helping.
Yeah.
With that,
it is. And, you know, obviously the blue collar workforce is losing a lot, and we've got a lot of work going on in Sangamon County. And so, you know, if you go downtown, you've got all those state projects going on, or out at the mall, there's those state projects going on. And we don't have any part of that, but that's still work going on here that's unionized work that you can get in, get a really good job, and make a really good career out of it. Yeah. And so there's a lot of work to be had right now, and a lot of opportunity for young people that aren't interested in going to college and are really handy to make a really, really good career.
Yeah.
So we are very pro-trade, but we're also pro-college. If that's what you want to do that. My sister's one of those people, and so...
college is a weird thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's changing a lot.
Changing a ton.
And I just think that, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be, I hate to say gone, but I feel like it's not going to be very prevalent as like, now obviously, you know, lawyer, doctor, all these things where you have to get a degree. But I just feel like I went to college, but I only had a couple classes where it was like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, most of the stuff I learned, I taught myself, graphic design, you know, and different programs and stuff like that. I did expand some of my knowledge on a few of those programs in a couple classes, but mostly partied.
Yeah, I get that. You know, the classes I took at Lincoln Land, I think were some of the best classes I ever took. The teachers there, they care so much about you, and even with my experience currently at UIS, I have really felt the teachers care, and the staff there cares, because they're local people. And so I don't know.
I was just having this conversation with somebody similar to, like, along those lines, and they were talking about, well, maybe, you know, you could look at some online classes for somebody. And I was like, here's the problem with online. I never did online that I can remember. I don't think I ever did any online classes. But the classes that I enjoyed the most, that I got the most from, all were directly correlated with the professor.
Right.
And if that was a good professor, if they kept you engaged and made it interesting, I enjoyed the class and got so much more from it.
Right. Yeah. There was a business professor at Lincoln Land. I can't think of his name right now, but I single-handedly think he was the best professor that I ever had. And then there was a guy up at Bradley. His name was Burl George, and he was an old iron worker. And
real quick, what did the business professor at Lincoln Land look like? Is he a bald back dude?
Yeah.
God, what was his name? I had him also. He was
drove
awesome.
A Mercedes. I don't remember, but he was.
I had him too.
Who was it? It was.
You got your own Jamie here.
I know, right? It was. God, I'm so bad at that. But he was it the guy that would like basically give you the test to study?
Yeah, and there was nothing to it, and like as long as you studied that
was it Hudson? Is
yes,
that a name?
That sounds super familiar.
Is it Hudson?
Paul Hudson.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah, he was the best teacher I ever had. I mean, and not from a standpoint that
he was funny, man.
Yeah,
like, you guys got to be ready, man.
Right.
Like, he
just gives you the test. It was
like,
great.
here's what you need to know.
But
this is it.
What I learned in the class is that, like, everything, that we learned in class was all applicable to the outside world.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, just read this, read that, read this, read that. And when it came down to test time, he's like, apply yourself to the study guide and you'll do fine on the test.
Yeah.
And I think that correlates to anything in life,
Yeah.
Pour yourself into the prep.
This is what you need to know.
And then when you get to the day, you're fine. And so
we just, we've been interviewing for another graphic designer, and this is not just this time that we're doing it, but other time we've hired graphic designers. I'm blown away by they come in with, they send a portfolio or come in with a portfolio, and the portfolio has nothing related to business in it or creating any kind of graphics for business or anything like that. And I'm like, I cannot believe that the teachers are not having you guys do more like social media based stuff or business related stuff, because nowadays that's pretty much what graphic design is. I mean, social media. So that always blows me away, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I should reach out to these teachers or something, give them some input here or something. I used to think about teaching. I always thought that'd be really cool to teach what you know. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we got a few people at our office that do that and just teach a class or something at a local college or something, and it's pretty cool. I still haven't completed college yet, but working towards that, and so. It's been a very long journey, but it's funny. My sister, she's incredibly smart, and
how close are you guys in age?
She's 2 years younger than me, and she's in Manhattan right now. She goes to NYU.
Nice.
She is incredibly smart. She's got a degree in biology and neuroscience.
Oh my gosh.
She did an article with a doctor that got published,
cool.
And now she is doing a social work program there, and she just got a job. She's a psychotherapist, so
wow.
It is. She's incredibly smart, and at age 7, Dad and I were talking. She's like, I don't want anything to do with the business, and not in a bad way, but she just had different interests in life. But for me, it was like, as a young boy, and your dad takes you out, and you're like, that's a huge piece of equipment. That's super cool. It's like,
oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
as a kid, just like got all the toys.
Yeah, I've got a shirt on under this. It says "Born to Build," and
that's funny.
There was an interview with my grandpa where he's like, I was born to build, and he would run out of kindergarten to go hang out with his grandfather and build houses, and that's kind of how we were all wired. Now I appreciate construction. I enjoy construction. I enjoy the process and everything. I do think it would be really bad if I was out there in the field working. I think a lot of stuff would fall apart, but that's just me.
Not my forte.
Right, it's not my forte. So I come hang out, talk on podcasts, go out in the community, work with community programs.
Be a fun position.
Yeah, I mean, I get the coolest position ever. I get to work with the outlet a lot, and Michael Phelan, and he's great. I love him. And his boys that come to our office whenever we host nights for him, it's just like...
What's the outlet?
So it's a mentoring program for young men, and just kind of giving them some direction in life. They bought the old St. Joseph's home out off South 6th Street.
Cool.
And so Mike's got a lot of space now where he can teach these young men and just provide guidance for them. And it's just such a great program. And cool. If you ever get the opportunity to check them out, they are one of my favorites. And then there's his cousin in Peoria runs this program called the Elite Program, who I've been working with a lot lately. We've been doing a reentry program at the Peoria County Jail. And I know this sounds weird, but days that I get to go to Peoria County Jail are by far some of my favorite days.
Really?
And it has been an awesome experience to work with the inmates there. They're all great guys, and they have very bright futures. And so super excited.
Made some bad decisions.
We've all made bad decisions, and I'm the king of it. Carl asked me to give the keynote speech at the graduation for the first cohort for that, and I was sitting there with a few people from Peoria, and whenever I was in Peoria, I got mixed up in some pretty bad things, and so I'm sitting there talking with the sheriff of Peoria County, and talking and start talking about some of the stuff I did. And it was kind of a weird experience being in the jail, talking about some really poor choices I made that could have landed me in jail.
Yeah.
And but it'll be 6 years ago on April 17th. And so I am super blessed to be in the position I am today.
From bad choices you made, or okay?
Yeah. So currently, so April 17th, I'll have been sober 6 years. And so
awesome,
that's
man.
been a fun journey. Thank you. And so, and I'm actually, I think my daughter will be born on the 18th. So the second kid, and
awesome,
super excited for that. And
that's freaking great.
April's turned into a good month. And so anyway, going back there now has provided me, I've been talking with a few people about this lately, just like a ton of closure on that portion of my life.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's really how I got into the community engagement portion of it.
I'll tell you, some of the like most amazing people that are out there went through times like that, like hard times or terrible experiences or addiction or something, and it's turned them into some of the greatest people there are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's just there's this little piece of gratitude that's, kind of like a chip on my shoulder. And whenever I got home, my parents embraced me with like the widest arms possible. And it was, there's some tears shed over that, but ultimately they were like the biggest support system ever. And I felt like I was in this real unique space where I came out of that, and I didn't really have any issues that needed to be really dealt with. And my parents helped me with my rehab and everything. And so after I got done with that, I felt extremely grateful. And so getting involved with some of these places, it's my turn to give back. And
good for you,
part
man.
of the whole being sober and and AA and whatnot is you gotta serve. And so I get to do that in my job. I'm super lucky. So every day I get to help others. And so a little bit of a gratitude chip on my shoulder, but it's
that's awesome, man.
It's been a great 6 years since then. So,
addiction's tough, man. It's I've never I guess been like necessarily addicted to anything, but like I can see how somebody would get addicted.
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh, this feeling's great.
Oh
you're
yeah,
like, man, I could totally see why someone's addicted to this, or
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy though how like they always say like someone will be like, I have an addictive personality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I'm just curious like where that comes from, because sometimes they say like alcoholism is like a hereditary. Don't they?
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? Is that like a fact
Hereditary
though, or do
thing,
people just say that? Do you know?
I think there's
maybe
some truth to it. Yeah, but not
maybe,
always.
Yeah. But probably anything. I mean, this could be good or bad, but I love to create. Like,
right.
If I didn't have kids or a wife,
yeah.
Maybe I'm speaking out of line, but I'd probably be like making stuff or working
all the
nonstop.
Time. Yeah.
I guess maybe that's kind of my addiction. I'll tell you what I did do a couple months ago was no sugar. Well, I shouldn't say no sugar, but no, just like candy, cake, brownie, stuff like that. Yeah. And that was hard in itself. And I'm like, maybe that's what I'm addicted to.
Dude, I ate like 3 Little Debbie cakes last night. Like I was just sitting on my couch, and so our competition starts Monday. So I was like, I got to get it all in and gain some extra weight. And so I'm gonna eat these Little Debbie cakes and
a bunch of water.
That's all I'm doing until Monday. And Josh and Brian, if you watch this, I'm gonna win. And so anyway, I'm just bulking up, so I got a little extra weight on me to lose, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, sugar would be hard as well. I remember whenever I sobered up, you taking a lot of sugar to replace the alcohol.
Yeah, and I did no alcohol too. It was no alcohol and no sugar.
Yeah,
was my test for the month.
Yeah, it's that was tough because I didn't realize I was taking in so much sugar, and I gained a ton of weight. And
dude, for like 2-3 weeks into it, or just less than the month, I was like, babe, I just tightened my pants to the next belt loop. I was like, I haven't used this belt loop forever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not a fun experience, that portion of it, but ended up finding my love for running again. And that was like that for a period of time. It was like I would get up real early in the morning, run, and then I get home from work and I'd run again. And it was just like a nonstop cycle. So I find myself getting into these things like.
So do you find that you can get addicted to like stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So that avid
good.
duck hunter.
It's like you gotta transfer that addiction to
Yeah.
like something.
Oh yeah,
like that,
it totally
you know?
goes. Like I run these phases, and it's very funny. I'll get like super into something, and my wife's like, "This is just a phase," and I am just adamantly, it's not. Yeah, and for a period of time, it's like I'm doing this till like the utmost. You know, I got into duck hunting. A buddy of mine's like, "Hey, you're not going to do any stupid. You're not going to do drugs or drink anymore. So you're coming with me. We're going to go hunting." And so I got into that, and I got into duck hunting. And then the second year that I was into duck hunting, me and 3 of my buddies went to Alaska to go shoot ducks.
Nice.
And that took off really quickly, and it was a super cool experience. But I definitely look back and I was like, wow, I really ran with that one. So anyway, everything I do, lately it's been Diet Coke and these liquid deaths. So I'm sure that'll phase out eventually.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
I find something and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to do this for like 3 months.
Well, in that,
really hard.
In that hyperachiever thing, it's said like if I'm not going to be the best at it, I won't do it.
Right.
One of the thought processes, and that's how I used to be with video games.
Oh yeah.
I stopped playing video games because if I get into it, like I want to be able to kick somebody's ass at it.
Yeah, no questions asked about it.
Like,
that was another one, like when the PS5 came out, I was like, gotta have this if I'm going to play better. And I haven't played it in a really long time. It just sits on my shelf now. And it's part of having kids too, though. So,
that's funny, though. That's how I'll feel too and stuff.
Yeah, you just get into something and then it's going to be your life for the next like 3 months. And so
what's the, like, in your time, well, I mean, obviously you've been kind of there your whole life, but what's like one of the most like memorable projects you guys have done?
So there's been a few for me. So our office over on Constitution, that was a really special one to me. Not from an aspect of like, oh, it's a new office and it's the family business, but for that summer, my grandfather would take me on Wednesdays or Thursdays, I can't remember, and we would spend the morning going to different job sites the projects he was running, and then at noon we'd go to Culver's and get lunch or whatever, but we'd spend some time at the office, and then he'd drop me back off at home, and that was a really special summer for me, and so I got to watch the office be built, and not really be a part of it, but be able to run around the job site as a young kid and do that. The next project that I specifically remember that was like super special, we built this monastery in Girard, and it's for these certain sect of nuns and or their sisters. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's confusing to get into different areas of the Catholic religion, but they're cloistered, so that means that they don't talk. They pray all day, and so they don't really have any human interaction, and so they said they had a calling from God to come to Central Illinois. They're from New York, and so they came here, bought a piece of property out in Girard, and then we helped them do some fundraising. It was an interesting story, but they ultimately needed a group of people to help them kind of advise, and so a few business owners from Springfield got together and helped them raise some money. And so I got to know these ladies over 8 years, and part of that building was super cool. So they saw me sober up, they saw me have my first kid, they saw me get married. They were all part of these huge experiences in my life. And then earlier this or I guess it was later last year, me and a few guys helped them move in. And so they have this beautiful monastery in Girard on all this acreage. Wow. And it was a bittersweet moment because now they went from 8 years where we were able to talk to them to now.
Now they're praying, baby.
Yeah. And so it was super special. And Dad and I even got to go they bought some new vehicles. And so we went and test drove them with them. And that was a fun experience, walking into green with 17 nuns.
Oh my gosh.
But it was some experiences I'd never forget. And then now Lanphier High School, just being part of the trades class, the job special. And we've worked our way from Champaign down to Springfield, or over to Springfield, and then to Williamsville with these school projects. So we did one in Champaign at Unit 4, Decatur Public Schools, Springfield, Williamsville, and so we've touched all these communities. And then you watch all these other communities get these schools. And then even though I didn't go through the Springfield public school system, Springfield's home. And so being able to be a part of these projects for the high schools has been awesome.
Yeah.
And it's super special, and getting involved with the trades program at Lanphier. Rob and Brian over there are doing great things with these students, and getting to know all the students too. That's like a whole other experience. They're some of the funniest kids I've ever met, and just watching them grow and learn. And like, even for me, like, so they're really bad with power tools, and if any of them watch it, I'm sorry, but you guys are. And so like, they'd bind up the saw or whatnot, and like for me, that's like totally like, I grew up in this world, and so that's just really common knowledge. And anyway, watching them learn that though was awesome, and
progress
then,
with it. And,
growing the relationships with them.
Probably intimidating if you've never done it, man. Even me, when I go to use like a circular saw, I'm like, all right, don't freaking cut your finger off. Here we go.
I'm so bad about it still. Like, I'm by no means am I a pro about it, but I definitely learned a little bit more, especially working on that the Santa house, that we'll call it, even though it changes for every holiday.
Holiday home.
There
you go.
But it was so much fun to watch them, and they really took it and just ran with it. And
that's great.
They did a great job, and they painted it. They did everything.
Do you guys do like videos or anything of any of that stuff?
Yeah. So right now, I know Evan Brown.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of our stuff right now.
Cool.
And Evan's been a lot of fun. I actually met him through the outlet. Mike texted me, and he's like, hey, we're going to bring our own photographer tonight. And some of that has to do with some other things. But anyway, he brought Evan. Evan came, and we got to know him a little bit. And he's got a cool story. And he sent me his portfolio, and Gucci was the first picture in his portfolio. I'm like, we got to use this guy, guys. Like, nice. Got to use this guy. But anyway, he's been doing some really cool stuff for us. He was actually out today. We bought a curb machine. And I don't
just for making curbs.
Yeah, so it lays curb, and it's super duper cool. So he's documenting the process of that, and he did the beam signing down at Lanphier, and then he'll do the topping out ceremony.
Cool. Is he in town?
Yeah.
Okay.
He moved back.
I thought he was up in Chicago.
He was, and he moved back, and I know he's been working with the outlet, and then he works with us, and he's been a really cool dude to get to know.
Nice.
So I've really appreciated Evan.
Yeah, I don't know him very well. We've had a few conversations, but
as Bo calls him, Big Dirt.
So. Yeah, Dirt.
Yeah.
What's his screen name? Always on Dirt or something like that?
Always on Dirt.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done, I know he's worked with some really cool people, and he was doing something with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get him to bring Dennis Rodman to Springfield because I want a picture with Dennis Rodman and Bridget.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the coolest picture ever.
Let me get him on the podcast.
Yeah. I think it's a six-figure number to get him here. Yeah, but
that's funny. Yeah, no, that's cool. He's gotten to do some neat stuff.
Yeah, he really has, and even getting to interact with people like that have these crazy experiences with people, and being open about it is because it's not always that you get to experience people like that, and. He's had some really cool, even just shoots at concerts that, talks about that. And I think he did some gaming during COVID with some NBA guys too, and streamed it, and just cool. Talking to him about that as well. So
yeah, it's weird. Like you always, and this obviously I don't want to change anything. I'm very appreciative for the life I had, but it's always like I always wonder like at one point in my life, I wanted to just get a van and like get my camera gear and just go around and freelance, just drive around and stop places. Like, hey, you guys need video? You want to make a video? You know what I mean? And just see where life would take you.
That's huge right now.
You know what I mean? That'd be. I just like with my particular skill set. I'm like I feel like I could have just got by.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it would have been interesting to see what experiences came across.
Yeah, that van life, camper life's huge right now. I feel like, and just being able to get out and do whatever.
But I just figure, everybody needs something.
Right.
Like I probably wouldn't be able to charge very much.
No.
You know what I mean? Just because you're randomly going places, but eventually people would probably start reaching out to you. Oh, come here, and then you kind of start charging a premium. But I always thought that would have been a cool thing to do for like a year or two. You know?
Who is it on? So I don't have TikTok, but I see him on Instagram. I think it's Daniel Mack, the guy that goes around and asks people in like really sweet cars.
Guy? Oh.
And he's like, hey, what do you do for a living? Yeah. Like, I mean, look at that guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just like started going up to random people's windows. And
so many little niches people
Right.
did.
And that's been
one
like.
of the early ones was the What's Inside guy on YouTube. You ever seen him? Him and his kid would just cut things apart. Everything. They'd
That's
cut
so cool.
All kinds of stuff. When a new iPhone came out, they'd cut it. When a new anything, man. Computers, when they got their YouTube play button, for however many followers, they cut that thing in half. Yeah, they would cut everything in half. It was just called What's Inside.
That's crazy. Some of the stuff you find on YouTube, and you're like, you get this many views for that.
There's
wild to me.
There's another dude that just has like a hydraulic press. And just
I've seen that one.
Stuff.
Or the thing that like mulches stuff. You seen those?
They just
put
mulch.
So cars in them and stuff.
Yeah,
like
the hydraulic press one's crazy.
Yeah, you can do some
weird,
cool stuff
weird
with
shit
that
they do on it.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of the one I watched the other day. It was like what was it? It was I can't think of it. He had like a grate. He had to put like a grate on top of it, but it made it like all come out in all these separate lines when he smashed it.
Cool.
It was weird.
That's oddly satisfying.
But that's what it is. It's just like you find like a little niche and go for it.
I like the ones that are like the ASMR cooking. Love that. I feel like I can cook anything, but I cannot. But those I really like those videos. Those are really cool. But it's kind of crazy though, like how that's become a job even now, and people make exponentially more money doing that than.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that's I think going to be a problem. I mean, not a problem, but something that has to be figured out a little bit, and maybe that's going to happen with like robots and AI and all the shit that helps offset it. But there's so many jobs or so many people that are not going to work traditional jobs because they found some weird way to just make 50, 60,000 a year on social media somehow. Yeah. Making videos or being an influencer or like something. Maybe they're not getting rich, but if they're living a happy life, making 50, 60 grand, like
do what
easy
you do.
Peasy, you know? And I think there's a lot of those people out there.
Yeah.
So I think
maybe that's part of our trade shortage.
Cutting out some. I mean, those are our jobs. Right. I'm not saying they're not jobs, but they're cutting out like the other jobs.
Right.
Like,
it's I don't know. It's just a different world that we live in, and like, COVID obviously influenced that a lot. I don't know if you follow Barstool, but that Dave Portnoy, for like 3 weeks, he was getting packages at his door, and he did do these 3-hour live streams of him just opening up packages.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh, those are so funny, and they get pretty ridiculous towards the end of it. Seriously, it was like 3 hours. I'd watch them just. Yeah, they found out his address, and like all of a sudden, packages just started showing up for like the first 3 weeks of COVID.
Himself.
Yeah, he eventually had to start shipping them to the office because like he could not fit them in his apartment.
I feel like I'd have to have somebody like pre-open them.
Oh no! So he got.
You know what I mean? Like what if someone sent them something fucked up?
Yeah, they did all the time. So much messed up stuff. But he he get like a ton of samurai swords, and so that's how he'd open the packages up, just like whacking them. Yeah, it was. Funny. And I think at one point he was doing mushrooms during them.
Nice.
And so he was doing that, like wielding a samurai sword and whacking packages open. It was quite the experience. Yeah, but like, I mean, obviously Dave Portnoy sold his company for $100 million or something.
Do you know it used to be a newspaper?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, like the progression of what Dave Portnoy has done in his life is incredible with just a media company. And like, he wanted to do
I was watching him on a podcast, and I follow Barstool a little bit, but I like not intensely. And he was just kind of going through everything of the progression of their company.
Right.
And it was like how from a newspaper, him being in New York, trying to give out newspapers. And then he was talking about how they were throwing these parties. Yeah. And he was just like, eventually he was just losing money on it. I think they're doing them again now.
Yeah.
But he was on like concerts and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the betting thing really culminated everything.
Yeah. Once they got acquired by Penn, they obviously opened a sports book, and then they've got casinos and a few other items. But, even their podcast, like I listen to that Bussin' with the Boys religiously. I love Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. I think like their duo is super funny. And the people they have on super funny, and it's the world's dumbest podcast ever. There's no content that's like really good.
You watch that, right? Which one? Bussin' with the Boys. I've never checked that out.
Oh, that's a solid one too. Spittin' Chicklets is another good one.
It's crazy how they've expanded everything, and having so many different creators and all these deals they've made and shit.
Yeah, and those deals that they cut are huge.
I know. It's so tough. I'm like, how the hell do you mimic that?
Sunday conversations too.
Oh, with Caleb Presley, yeah, that's a solid one.
Yeah, because like I would love to like expand our content offerings.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like get more creative people in here doing like stuff like that, and having like shows.
Right.
You know what I mean? But damn, I don't know if it's just like we're in Springfield, so it's harder to do that. There's not as many people, maybe, or like I don't know. It's interesting what they've done.
Yeah, that to that point, I think Springfield's a super interesting place because like some of the most successful people I've ever met have been people in Springfield, and just like
there's a ton of people making a lot of money in Springfield, and people don't realize how much money is in Springfield.
There's a ton of money in Springfield.
I mean, huge businesses.
Yeah,
look. Well, first of all, O'Shea's huge.
Well, I appreciate that.
LRS, Bun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like some of these companies. We did a video for a software company that has like 200 employees, but they're all over the country. They're just based out of here. They make like apps and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
We still see ourselves as like a family business because like everybody at our office is, still really tight and really close. And it was funny, even though Saturday I didn't know some people. I mean, I knew the majority of them, and it still felt small. It seems like we've gotten pretty big, but still staying pretty humble about that is, I think, what keeps us there.
Mm-hmm.
And
gotta stay humble,
right?
Don't start acting like a dickhead that nobody wants to work with.
Right. And quite frankly, like without the community, we wouldn't be where we're at. We can't pay ourselves to build buildings.
And the harder thing is that you recognize that the hump that you have to be humble after 5 generations,
right?
Because what happens to a lot of businesses, I think, is that the kids aren't humble,
right?
And they kill the business,
right?
Because they have this entitlement. Or they have this entitlement. I own this business or this family. You know what I mean? And they have this entitlement, and nobody wants to freaking work with them because they're dickheads,
right? Even around the office, I met one of the new hires that we got recently, and I didn't tell him my last name, and just then but a good conversation ensued, and then one of the guys from the office was like, "Oh, so you met Mike's son?" He's like, "Oh, you're Mike's son?" I was like, "Yeah." Just trying to blend in.
Yeah.
Now 90% of the people know me,
or like intimidated to talk to you or something.
It's I'm nobody special. My dad is super special, but I'm not in any form a special person in our office. We've got so many incredible people that work for us. Like our whole leadership team is like some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, and they are what make O'Shea super special.
I can't imagine that. I think about that, like with Dupbox. I'm like, how, like, so none of my like family, my dad kind of had a couple little business things he did, but not really. And so none of my family had businesses. Like I went into this just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And there's times I'm figuring it out. Now, luckily I've met some people that have started to help me a little bit randomly, but still there's so many things, and we're in such a unique industry. I can't be like, hey, how did you do this to fill this position? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's nobody else doing it in town.
Right.
So unless I like go somewhere else and meet somebody that's running a similar business, it's tough to imagine like that expansion.
Right.
I'm constantly like reading or seeing what other people are doing to like know like, okay, once we get this many people, we're going to need this person to manage those people. And if 200 people, or whatever it was, 200 some people, like, you got a lot of
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff to figure out. Jeez, over the years.
Like one person I can think of in particular, his name's Harry Schmidt. Harry has had this incredible career.
With that works for you guys?
Yeah, he just started working for us 3 or 4 years ago.
Nice.
So Harry was a Top Gun pilot, and then was so good at that they asked him to come back and teach. So he was an instructor at Top Gun and had some really high accolades, and then went over to Memorial and did really well there. Ran Passment Hospital over in Jacksonville, and then was gonna leave town, go somewhere else, and he had reached out to my dad about maybe something at O'Shea. It was one of those things where it was like, he is way too smart. We don't know how we're going to use him, but we're going to find a way. And so he does a lot of our so we use this tact plan, pull plan, lean stuff at our office. And so he kind of helps do that and then measure how much time saved on a job, or with the tact planning and the pull planning, figure out how much time we'd save on a job. So he takes all the jobs once they've been planned out and then finds out how much time we'll save on them with what we do. And so we have cut down our time on our jobs. It is incredible how much we've shrunk the schedule at this point.
Just from pure organization?
Yeah. And so weekly work plan meetings and figuring out what each person's going to do and working in certain spaces at certain times and chopping the job up in small bite-sized pieces, and everybody kind of works together. And then we work with, we've got an incredible group of subcontractors in Springfield who are all very willing to work with us, and these crazy ideas that we throw out, especially with this tact and this pole planning. It was kind of a new idea. They're doing it a lot out west, and anytime those ideas come east, they're not sometimes well received. And we started doing them. And I think at first there was a bit of hesitation to why we were doing it. And now it's everybody's bought in. And
say that again. Tact,
T-A-K-T.
and pole planning? Is that what you said?
Yeah, and pole planning.
So what's that mean?
So the pole planning is pulling the job. The superintendent, they lead the schedule. So the boots in the field, those guys who understand it all from the day-to-day operations, they plan the jobs. And so each week they go through, and we've got these, whenever we start a big job, everybody meets at our office in an OU, and we've got these huge rolls of paper, and we put them up on the walls. Everybody puts their sticky notes on when they think they're going to be done with this zone and that zone. But it's all about working cohesively together to get the job done and get it done quicker, more efficient, and do an exponentially better job. And so, I know a bunch of our MEP subs, they fabricate their these racks, and so they do them in little 5-7 foot chunks. And so they put all the conduit, all the HVAC, anything that needs to go up in the ceiling, they put it all together, and then they connect it all on site, but it's already built. So whenever you get there, you just got to raise it up in the air and put it in the ceiling.
Wow.
So anyway, doing stuff like that just to make our jobs, more efficient, and work with that lean process and the 8 ways to make sure we're using the time that the clients are paying us, making the most out of it.
Yeah.
And so
where do you guys, obviously, where does O'Shea draw the line at how far you take it? Now I know you're you're not installing cabinets.
Yeah, we do.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's is it?
We don't make the cabinets.
Right. That's what I kind of mean. When does it go to a subcontractor per se?
So we're signatory with the laborers, operators, carpenters, cement masons, and iron workers.
Okay.
So we perform all those trades.
Gotcha.
We don't do electrical, HVAC, which is sheet metal, and AC units.
Gotcha.
And then plumbing we don't do. So those are our subcontractors.
Okay.
But we're signatory with those trades. So the steel structure for a building, we do that. We do the foundations, the slabs, slabs, concrete work on the outside, finished carpentry, and there's different things. So whenever we frame out a building, different contractors do that now. And so it's just been this niche where people find themselves. So people will hire framers, and they can do it way faster than we can.
Yeah.
And that's something we used to do. And but somebody found that and was like, oh, I've got these guys, and they can do it way faster and really clean. So why don't we use them? Because ultimately, it's you want to be a good steward of your client's money, and if you're not, you're not going to get hired again. So you want somebody who's really good at it.
Well, that's what I was curious, because I mean, in the end, you guys are the general contractor.
Yep.
I mean, you're not doing everything. You know what I mean? So no, I understand. It's but that's why I was just curious, like where those, where those lines, I guess, are drawn. Or
every job's different, and if we could get framing on a job, and it was in the best interest of the client, best interest of us, best interest of everybody, we'd love to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not going to happen. Yeah, and so you got to make the most of what,
you said, but how'd you put it? Be a good steward of their money?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. If you're not, they aren't going to want you back. If you send them a million change orders, they're going to be like, well, you told me the job was this, but then you sent me X amount of change orders, and now it's this.
Oh my God, yeah, that's probably terrible too.
It happens, and there's different things where something
probably more understandable in the construction business, like us.
Yeah,
it's so tough.
Yeah,
because you're like, hey, this ended up taking 2 times as long, but you almost don't know until you're into it, and what am I pausing the job, getting approval for it? You know what I mean? It's like. It's definitely a frustrating thing that we run into sometimes.
And there's sometimes where it's like we've got to do that and just say, hey, we got to wait on this till we hear back from them. And a lot of the times in our jobs, when we work, when we operate best, we work on this design build. So we work with the architect and the client from the get, and so we work with them, and they work with the architects, and the architects work with our estimators to provide the best job cost to them. And a lot of the times, what we do is we get, the most bang for their buck. So give us your dreams, and we're going to try and figure out a way within your budget to give you that. And so whenever we work with you from the very start, we can really affect the cost then. And so ultimately, when, that happens, it's not, you worked with an architect and you're like, that's my dream. Mm-hmm. And they give you a number, and then it goes out to bid, and it's $1 million higher. When we use our design build stuff, you work with us, and you're like, the architect will come to us with an idea, and our estimators will send back a price, and it's like, well, that's not going to fit in there. How do we do this in a better manner? Mm-hmm. And how do we use their money to get what they want? And that way, so everything kind of comes together.
Gotcha.
But usually they'll have a contingency in the job for odds and ends.
Budget.
Yeah. So you get so much money that, you may spend. And a lot of the times, if it's like a guaranteed maximum price or something, with those, it's this dollar is the most that we're going to spend. And, you either get savings back or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting. Is there a, and this is kind of a weird question. Where's the point where it's like a job that you guys don't mess with? Is there a dollar amount, or how do you look at that?
We've got a small services department, and they'll do anything.
Gotcha.
And so client calls, needs a door replaced or something like that, we'll do it. We don't do residential unless your last name's O'Shea. And there's some things that we won't just take on based on contracts.
Yeah.
So if we go through the contract for the job and we read it and we're like, man, this doesn't work well with what we do.
Yeah.
We won't take it. And or if they've got a different pay schedule, because a lot of what we do is a 30-day pay, and you'll get some stuff that's 120, 160, and you're like, whoa, I got to float that cost for that long.
Yeah, and that's probably in your industry a big float.
Yeah, that's a big number. And so especially when you get to those size jobs. But, I know we've got this no go thing at our office that our business leadership team goes through whenever we get a job, and we're like, all right, does it have this, and this, and you check it off and either go or
no go.
So And that's
cool.
Then there's other things that we will or won't take on just based off of whatever. But yeah, you got to know when to say no, or or if we were to like run out of bonding capacity and the job needed bonded or something, can't take the job on at that point.
Interesting.
If it were to fall through.
How many active projects are typically going on at once, if you had to guess? Like decent scale projects, not like small division, you know what I mean?
Well, our small division goes up to I think it's $1 million.
At once?
No, like $1 million job.
Dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty big.
I thought I heard like 40 were on the books right now.
Like decent sized projects, like in the...
Yeah, so we're switching over right now our softwares, and so it tracks like how many jobs are going on right now that are active. I want to say I heard there was 40 some odd, maybe higher, maybe lower. Yeah. So super blessed. And in the last few years we've made it into ENR's top 400 contractors too, which is
nice.
Super cool, especially coming from Illinois. We're like 397, but we're in the top 400, and that's all that matters, right? Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's where they take it from.
Cool.
And so anyway, that's always exciting.
Hell yeah.
You always like accolades, right? Anybody that says they don't is lying. It doesn't matter. Like if it's a newspaper, if it's the superintendent of the schools, whoever, whenever somebody says, hey, you did a really good job, I really appreciate that. You feel really good about yourself.
Yeah. The ones I don't like, I will say that I don't like and not lying about, is when you have to like campaign to win it.
Oh yeah, hate that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like that. Like if there's certain goals you have to hit to get that, like that's fine.
Right.
Like I want to hit those goals and be in that list. But if you have to like, hey, go vote for me, do this, do that, like I hate that.
So this year, we got nominated for like most philanthropic company with that Illinois Times thing. Mm-hmm. And don't know who put us on the list, but really thankful for them. But it was one of those things where it was like, if we like go out there and say, hey, vote for us for most philanthropic.
Right. That's what I mean. Right. It almost is a bad look.
Right. We'd rather be philanthropic and nobody ever heard about it. And the people that we helped, they knew about it. And because if we are being philanthropic with them, we think their organization's awesome. Yeah. And so we'd rather get the accolades from them than a newspaper. We'd be super happy if somebody was like, enough people like, yeah, they give so much to the community that they get this award. Yeah. Super cool. We get it, but without campaigning. Like we're totally in the same boat. We're not begging for them by any means, but super thankful that
that's cool.
It
feels good to be nominated.
Yeah, I know. I keep nominating my dad to do TEDx over at UIS.
Nice.
And he has no idea that I'm doing it, but every year whenever the thing comes out, I always like vote for him to do it, and it's a total write-out, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person doing it.
What do they do it regularly over there?
I think they do it once a year.
Interesting.
So I know I just saw one. I think it's called the Wakery downtown.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic bar. Mm-hmm. Super cool idea. She gave one this year. So I think her name's Emily.
Sounds right. Interesting idea. You think it's going to be successful?
I hope so. I really do.
I think so my niece is 18 and she moved here from Seattle to work here.
Gotcha.
And she doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
She doesn't have anything to do. She's like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know.
Go to the non-alcoholic bar.
I was getting in trouble at 18 with people that I know in town.
Yeah.
And I just told her, I was like, hey, this place is opening. Yeah. You should check it out.
Yeah, I think it's a super cool idea.
There used to be like little concert places where people like what's that place on the corner of Wabash and MacArthur? It was like a coffee shop, but they had little concerts there, like the band Park and shit played there, and some other bands.
Where was it?
It was, man, I was young.
Was
I
that
never
Black
went.
Sheep?
No, I never went. It was before they got rid of the Curve, I think. It was across from there where that like CVS is now. I think it was like right there. It was a long time ago, but it was like a coffee shop, but they had like a little concert thing. And I never went there because I was too young.
Right.
Even like I wasn't even 18, I don't think. But one of my buddies went there for a concert, so I don't know if there was an age restriction or not. I never really went there.
Kind of like Pizza Machine.
I guess.
Yeah.
But it was like coffee and concerts. Yeah, Pizza Machine was cool. Right. Even before Pizza Machine, that place had like a giant arcade back in the day. It was like the Spot or something it was called.
And then
there's not many plaplaces anymore though.
Dumb Records, I think.
She goes to Dumb Records. Yeah. She goes down there.
Yeah, that's cool.
I get never tattooed been there, but that's that place looks neat. I've never gone to Dumb Records, but it looks really
super cool.
Yeah,
so I bought a few records there. My dad, whenever I was young, gifted me a bunch of vinyl records he had.
Nice.
And so now whenever I see one like pop up or I want something for a gift, I go there and I get one there because that was something that like we both love music.
And they have a pinball thing downstairs.
Yeah, no, they got a whole arcade.
Do they? Nice.
Yeah. So, and they're right next to the shop I get tattooed at. So whenever I'm like waiting for them to drop my tattoo, I usually run in there and check it out.
That's cool, man. It's like a weird idea that they're. I mean, I don't know how well they're doing, but I hope they're doing great because they have a little niche thing that they got, and they are able to do what they love.
Yeah,
man. That's what I like to see is when somebody can figure out how to make a living doing what they love. Yeah, like that's the greatest thing to see.
Right. Yeah. It's my grandfather worked for 89 years in construction. He loved every minute of it.
Do you see yourself like actually running the business, being the
I hope so. We'll figure that out later, but for right now, I really enjoy what I'm doing.
And I'm just curious because sometimes people don't want that.
No, I would if that comes about, I would love it. Being a part of the leadership at O'Shea, I would be just as happy being. I think part of the family business aspect of it, that side of it is like our name's attached to it. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little more pride involved when your last name's on the door.
Yep.
And so anyway, I'd like to keep that. But we have some really seriously great people that work at O'Shea, and being able to surround ourselves with those people, that's what my dad did. And, our vice president's awesome. We've got another guy, Mike Sunley, who's really come up through the ranks, who's great as well.
I recognize that name.
Yeah. And then
I don't know if I met him before,
obviously Bridget and Tess, and then our lead estimators do a fantastic job. And we've got a general counsel now. And so you put all that together, it's really great. And we've got an awesome CFO. Jana's fantastic. But you got to add all those pieces together, and those people got to be way smarter than you, but you got to be able to trust them, and then just use your vision and run with it. So
what do you think's next for O'Shea?
I am not sure. A whole lot of buildings, hopefully. Yeah. But every day there's something new that goes on or you hear about at the office, and being able to be a part of just these awesome projects is like the best part.
How about AI? Have you guys, has that been affecting your business
I don't
at
know.
all? Have you guys looked into how that could aid your business? Or my brother just shared this thing with me about software, like programmers.
Right.
And how that's it was a chart, and it shows the cost of different things over time and how much that cost is, and several things like storage. Yeah. Like storage space. Yeah. Like that cost was extremely expensive. All of a sudden it just drops off. It's not very expensive anymore. Yeah. And I can't remember the other things on there, but
we got a quick second. I could break here to go to the bathroom real quick. Yeah. I've got some good stuff for this.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely don't consume enough water.
Yeah.
I need to get one of those water bottles.
I
saw one of those. I always think people look like jackasses carrying around milk jugs, but I'm like, I need something to just know.
My wife's gotten into those Stanley cups recently.
Oh my God, how'd those get so popular?
I don't know. Stanley's been around forever. I've got one of those old ones from my grandfather. It's like green and all beat up, and then all of a sudden they come out with these ones that look like Yeti, and everybody's like, that's how I consume water now.
Yeah. Just something that's better than Yeti.
Yeah, but I've been drinking a ton of water, so I wake up, smash 2 water bottles, and then
I need to do more.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey. So anyway, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all good. But here's this thing: it says the next collapsing tech cost in software itself, and it has this chart, and it shows storage and the cost dropping off from the just from the 80s to now, just tanking bandwidth, as in the speed of the internet, and then CPU power,
right?
And then software has been steady steady from, 70s, well, even risen a little bit to the, to now. And then it's like showing how it will tank at some point. And it's talking about basically because of AI, the software, because people now are like, make me a program that does this, or make me an app that does this.
Isn't that incredible? Just like what AI is even doing. Like, and I know now at like universities, they've got the AI detectors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can't write a paper; it'll detect it.
Someone was telling me in grade schools and stuff that they have to hand write them now.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't think I could do that. Glad I'm not like 4 or 5 anymore. But it's just an incredible. I think about that and like, can they write a resume for you? And like, you turn that in, and it's nothing that you know.
I'm doing a keynote speech, and someone wanted a bio about me to help promote the keynote. And I was like, I wonder if I could just put my LinkedIn profile and tell like ChatGPT, write a bio about me that's 100 words long using this profile. Right.
Yeah. It's funny. Whenever I did that keynote, where is it? Brittany, I asked her, they wanted a bio.
I hate like trying to write about yourself. I asked Josh here to do it. I was like, write a bio about me, or like a little brief thing.
So Brittany, she does a lot of that at her office, and she's really good at getting stuff done. So they've got these like templates.
She's really good at getting stuff done.
So I
got a couple of those here.
I've got my resume's incredible. If you look at this,
nice.
I'm
going to his dad with it.
Right.
Here you go, Dad. Here you go. This is why I should be.
My 2 projects, the first one is 8.4 million and the next one is 90 million. Nice. So I mean, it's I've got this crazy resume with no college experience, with the exception of Lincoln Land and UIS in the short term at Bradley,
So is there any aspect of there's got to be something in your guys' industry that AI is going to change?
Oh, I'm sure there's something, with as much technology as we use now, which is, I can't believe, so this morning I was watching our curb machine, and there's not many of them around. So I was like, I've never seen this, and I'm 28 years old. Love to see this. And like, even that, it's like really rudimentary technology where there's a string line that runs down the pour, and these 2 sensors sit on it and keep the piece of equipment in line. But now they like make them where they don't even need the string to guide them, and like it runs all off GPS points. Yeah, which a lot of our equipment does.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so we can set like our dozers to you hit it and it'll run, and you just got to make it go, and it'll adjust the blade.
Whoa.
So I'm sure at some point it'll come into play, but I don't know. AI is getting crazy.
Like snow plows,
or
some shit.
Oh yeah,
like not even needing people to run them.
I know that. My buddies in high school used to like do that, and so like we'd ride with them, and you hit like a parking block or something. You just feel a jolt, but like anymore, probably program it to just go.
Yeah, it's a farmer. We were doing a video of a field tiling job.
Oh, that's super cool.
You know what I'm talking about, field tiling?
Yep.
We did a video of one, and I was talking to the guy that does it, and I was like, how do you know the grade and how straight it is? He's like, you just program it in, and it's all GPS and technology. I was like, God, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
It blows me away.
I look at it now, and I look at it what it was, 20 years ago, and it's just like, saying that I was 8, but like the equipment we had then to what we've got now, it's like, holy cow. I remember we bought a new, when we built West Side, we had just bought a new Cat 330. It's a 30-ton excavator. And like the whole right side of it is like essentially iPads, and just like,
oh shit.
Yeah. And your grade and everything, what you got to dig down to, and just like walking in that, like I remember it was just joysticks and like.
That's crazy. Even the stuff that requires like imagine like the people, like you call them the boots on the ground or whatever, like if they just had an earpiece and while they're doing something, like they don't even have to think about it. It's like, oh yeah, make that angle this. It's like, what was that angle you mean? It's like, do it at this degree and have this. And you're like, okay, so, here we go.
This is crazy. I haven't gone to see it yet. But Henson Robinson, so they've got this hard hat, and so we use this BIM software, and it you can put everything together in the building. So all your electric, HVAC, plumbing. And so you can see where it all goes, if there's going to be clashes, and then you set it all up in the software. That way, so when it, tells you where to put everything, it doesn't clash together. They've got a hard hat you can put on, and it's got like a lens that comes over it.
Augmented reality.
I've
seen it. Not there specifically, right. I don't think, but I saw a video of it.
So they
you
could
like tap through the layers and see the fucking place built.
And so you if you look up, you would see where everything goes, and it's awesome. And just like think of that, and you're just like.
Talk about efficiency.
Right. I remember, talking
not having to go all the way back to the fucking trailer, look at the blueprint. Like, all right, yeah, we can't put that here.
Yeah. It's funny. Whenever my grandpa died, there's a bunch of the guys that used to work for us, because we had like 4 superintendents at the time. So they would all come to the office and get whatever they needed for the day and then go out. If they needed something, like my dad or his brother would drive it out. And anyway, they talk about like my grandfather, like Bud would count the nails for us, and just like we had to be really, really good about not bending a nail that day. And like now,
sir, you've used too many nails today,
right? And so now it's like put this hard hat on, and
that's crazy,
and you'll be good. And
so how many? I guess I didn't even think about this. Your dad, he has a brother is in the business.
Yeah,
also?
It's just my dad now.
Oh, okay.
And so my dad, my cousin David, and I are all in the office, and then one of David, his half brother, works for us, and he's a superintendent for us.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and then my cousin. David's little brother works for one of our subcontractors, but
nice.
He ends up on a lot of O'Shea jobs, so that's really cool. But most everybody except Dad lives out of town, so just Dad really in town anymore. So anyway, it's just us and my sister. Like I said, she doesn't want anything. She wants to. She's a psychotherapist now, so. Way different role.
She'll just be analyzing all you guys.
Yeah, I think I'm like test subject 1. She's incredibly smart, so I'm sure I say stuff to her and she analyzes it and it's like, you are really messed up.
It's hilarious.
So, anyway, but no, it's a cool thing to be a part of. I mean, I know like there's so many people that talk about working with their parents and like.
How has that been? How's that dynamic?
So my dad always talks about he hit the home run with his parents. And so my grandfather and my grandmother worked in the company together simultaneously. And my grandmother died when I was really young, and it was like 08 or 09, maybe later. But I was really young when my grandmother died. And but my grandfather just died, in this last year, so I got a real awesome relationship with him. And my dad says he hit the home run with his parents. And like if he hit the home run, man, like I knocked it out of the park with my parents and my grandparents. I got to know both of them within the business, and work's work, home's home, and that's how it is. And so I don't know. I don't think Dad and I have had any like bashing of heads. Mm-hmm. I think we see things together and not separately. I know there's a lot of people that don't have that same relationship, but like I've got the world's greatest relationship with my dad, and I had the world's greatest relationship with my grandfather. And it was cool back in the day. I'd go sit in my dad's office for like 15 minutes at the beginning of the day, and then I'd go sit in my grandpa's office for like an hour because he was way cooler. And it's just funny being able to talk to him about anything. And like even I'd come in with like a new tattoo or something, and he's like, well, let me see it. And like it was just cool being able to hang out with them. But I struck it out of the park from that aspect of being able to work with my dad and his dad, and we don't fight, we don't get into it. And I know there's other people that don't get that opportunity, and we have. So I don't know what's different about us, but
well, you probably have to give yourself some credit too. I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure there's days that he wants to beat me over the head.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on both sides, but there also has to be a respect that comes from you.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean. And if you didn't have that respect for him, then
right.
there would probably be way more.
Yeah, it's super special to be the 5th generation of something like this, and watching whenever we were on 10.5 Street, and then up until we moved into our office.
Where at on 10.5 Street?
So you know where Isles Park is?
Yeah.
Right behind Isles Park.
Okay.
It's now the railroad. They knocked it all down. But for a while, you could see there's like a U shape where the tornado just like ran through our building.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we were like halfway down. But so we were there for a while, and then when we moved out to Constitution, the last 15 years, watching the company like go from where it once was to today. My dad, we just had like a kind of a company-wide meeting last week, and he was talking about, I forget what year it was, but we had done like $2 million worth of work that year, which would equate to like $8 million in today's money. And in like the beginning of 22, within like the first 20 days, we had acquired that much work for the year. And
I was going to say like freaking one project.
Yeah. So watching, obviously I wasn't alive then, but, watching that growth from then, from the owner's son's aspect, that is like, you can be proud of your kid, but proud to say Mike O'Shea's my dad is the complete understatement. And so I've got a lot of respect for my dad and what he's done. And so right now he's in Florida. And so watching him also get to spend time doing stuff that he enjoys is also really cool as well, because I know they enjoy that. 57, I think. 58, somewhere in there. Just had a birthday in December. So
nice.
Anyway, but yeah, it's been super special. You know, I know a lot of kids that don't get that, and I did. And so, like I said, if my dad hit a home run with his parents, I'm like way out of the park. Like it hit some building.
Grand slam.
Yeah, so
that's cool,
it's been super special, and we work on opposite ends of our building. So I'm back up in that loft in the back, and my dad's up front. And so most mornings I run down there, say hello to him, and then head up to the loft or go do whatever I'm doing for the day.
Yeah.
But it's still, we get to see each other every day, and my dad got that with his dad even longer. So
that's cool,
we all feel super blessed.
Yeah.
And
it's tough. I mean, how? I guess if you were like going to work with him and stuff, it sounds like, but like, a lot of business owners, they don't get like they're not. What am I trying to say? A lot of business owners don't spend as much time with their kids as they should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I made a decision that once I had kids, like I got to start taking stuff off my plate. Mm-hmm. I saw a couple, businesses I've tried to like back off, or like certain services here, or like different things that I'm like, we got to be more focused here, and I got to be more focused on this business. And mainly because like I don't want to work. I want to work 12 hours a day to grow this business, but it's more important to get the time with my kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I was talking to Chris Hembrow, and we were talking just about like, being young, and there's a time to work and a time to play. And I think ultimately they even out, but there's times where you're going to have to grind it out and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And there'll indefinitely be nights that you miss dinner, or you got to go in early enough that you won't see your kids get up.
Yeah.
But make those limited and make them worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And, my dad, sometimes I think he thinks he worked too much whenever we were younger. And he definitely didn't, because like every cross country race I ran, he was there. Every swim meet my sister swam in. Even in college, he made it to everything.
We got soccer practice tonight.
Yeah.
First, well, technically not the first, I guess. First with his team, soccer practice for my son.
Yeah, I've got little gym tonight. That's sacred time at our house. Yeah. And it's, but being able to go to that, like at 4:45 on Mondays, I get to go to swim with my daughter, and like that is the most special time in the world. I love swim class, and
cool.
Just even as your kids grow. So my daughter's about 2 years, 4 months old, And like, this is a really cool time right now with me and her, because she's like starting to talk and like figure things out. And I think some of the stuff she says is absolutely hysterical. And some of the stuff she does is just like, it makes me laugh so hard. Being able to spend that time with her is so special. And, you know, my wife stays at home with her, and that is awesome. And there's no way I could ever do that. I couldn't stay at home with kids. I
tried to do it for when we first had our first kid, like take one day to be home. And I was just, like, it wasn't about like being there with him. It was my anxiety of not being at work.
Right.
And like making sure things are getting done. And during we were at a very vital time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was like, I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be home a day.
Yeah.
Like, it just it's not gonna. I can't.
Yeah. No. It's you got to be a special type of person to stay home and keep your sanity. And my wife's done an amazing job at that. And so it has provided me to be able to do all this cool stuff I get to do. And, you know, we don't have to worry about running home to like get her from daycare or something like that. Yeah. And so we're super fortunate. But then whenever I do get home, like, what was it? It was Tuesday, the day that was like 82.
I think so. Yeah, it was nice out.
And like, I got to run in the backyard with her and go play and do all these sorts of things. And she's just excited that I'm home. And so being able to spend that time with my daughter is like, it's awesome. And obviously, as we have a new child arrive, I'm just as excited for the little girl. I'm really on the girl dad train. Love little
girls.
girls.
Another girl?
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. And
it's fun.
You know, I never got the, you know, brother relationship, and my wife had a brother, so she never got the sister. So we're excited for that as well. You know, get to watch the girls grow up. It also feels really cool saying I've got the girls with me today, and you know, my daughters are with me. So
it's funny.
Yeah, you know, family time's super important, and you know, I think that's becoming not like a issue per se, but like, I think it's recognized a lot, you know, that family time's super important. And people, you know, at O'Shea, we try to make sure that people are with their families as much as possible. So,
that's good.
You know, it's a super important part of like being, you know, having a sane mental health is like, you know, I'm sure your kids to some extent relieve stress. You know, you go home and laugh with them, but I know there's also part of it where it's like, oh my gosh, you're jumping off the top of the couch.
I mean, there's tough times, and obviously, I mean, he just turned 4, but we had 3 and under. So
you had 3 and under?
Yeah, so it was a lot. Yeah, he just turned 4. I mean, it's still a lot.
Right.
But they're all going to be in high school together for a year. Like, that's freaking
so
awesome.
Cool.
You know, maybe, who knows? Hopefully they're all get along just fine. So it is actually cool, and they aren't.
So what do you have?
Boy, girl, boy.
Boy, girl, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
4, 2, and like 10 months.
Oh man, so real new. Well, I guess not real new, but
10 months.
10 months.
So almost a year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She'll be 3, and he'll be coming up this summer. She'll turn 3, and he'll turn 1.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah. But my oldest and my second oldest, they're like 16 months apart, I think.
Yeah.
Really close.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Yeah, that's how my wife and her brother are. They're pretty close in age. But now I'm sure it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, about the same age. Same
it's
group,
crazy, man. Family life.
Yeah. No, and you know, obviously, now coming from where I once was, you know, that's also crazy to look at. Because like out of that, so I still got some friends that I ran around with at Bradley, and out of all of them, I was the first one to have a kid, first one to get married, and it's just like everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, really?"
How old are you?
28.
Nice.
So we had Hazley when we were 24.
You'll have to make like a. I always joked around. I was like, if we have all girls, I'm gonna make a not a will. Oh, a trust. And to get access to the trust for the business and everything, they have to, when they get married, the man has to take our last name.
That would be so cool. I know. I got to keep the O'Shea thing going.
Unless you're going to have more kids, then maybe you'll have a boy.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, all right, girls, here's the deal.
Yeah, you got to take.
You got to make the guy take your last name.
Don't care who it is. They got to be an O'Shea. But, you know, it's, you know, it's fun, and family life it's much different, and you know, it's definitely different in my friend groups now, because I'm still like, we got one other friend that's about our age that has a kid, and so it's like we're still in this really weird space where like none of our friends have kids, and so they do things, and we've got kids, and you're like,
that was me for a little while.
But at the same time, you know, like we had Hazel when we were 24. She's 18 when we 42.
Yeah, I didn't have my first kid till way later.
Yeah,
because he's 4. I was like 34.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
I had him way later. That's why we busted him out so quick too.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to be old as shit.
Right.
I'm
gonna be really young.
Still want to be able to do stuff with my kids.
Yeah. So. You know, it's funny. Like I will go like do something with Hazley, and by far most of the time we're the youngest parents there. Yeah. And obviously it gets younger, but it is funny. Like I even remember being like on the maternity ward at Memorial and like walking around the halls, and I felt like a total baby around there. And like,
did I just say I was 38?
Yeah.
Am I 38? I don't even remember. I can't even. 37? I don't
know you how 34?
Old I am, man.
34 plus 4, you know.
Yeah, wait. I'll be 38 this year.
Yeah. So
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, know my own age over here.
Right.
I'm like, damn, I'm aging myself over here. Let me back up a second.
On my birthday, I remember I had to think about how old I was this year. And obviously when you have kids, it's just like, whatever. But
well, man, what's the, I know you, like your family owns it, you know, but from your perspective, what's the hardest part of owning a business, of the business?
Well, I think, you know, obviously like the big picture is like super hard to think of, and like creating these goals where you're going to be in 5 years, you know. So my dad, I know, kind of has like a mentorship thing. Like Jeff Nelson helps him out, and Jeff does a lot of stuff at our office. But like being able to like say, we want to be here, we want to do this, I think takes a lot of time, and I think it can be super stressful. You know, I do remember whenever I was really young, my dad had a lot of stress, and he had a few like stress attacks or whatever, but like panic. To the point where we thought he was having heart attacks, and like that was a really stressful time for him. And so I know that whenever we, you know, there's hard times that come with it, but I think right now is figuring out how to manage all the work that we have and the workforce, and as it shrinks and the amount of work grows, like how we manage all that. And but really, you know, I think for him, like big picture of like, where are we going to be in 5 years or 10 years, or what's this place going to look like in 5 or 10 years? And you know, even like whenever my dad bought the place and built it, he's like, we'll never outgrow this. So now we got O'Shea Builders. We've got our warehouse that's kind of catty corner in the cul-de-sac. We own the building to the left of that, and then we also own the grass lot over there. And really cool fact, you can rename the street if you own all the properties on it.
Really?
Well, you just got to get the signatures of all the owners, but whenever you own all the properties, it's way easier to put 2 signatures down on the piece of paper.
I didn't know that.
So we got
a long ways to go over here.
Yeah, Clock Tower's a long street, man. But, you know, that was also really cool. That came in the last year. We got to rename the street, which I know this is super off topic, but that was super
cool. Oh, you did rename the street?
Yeah, so what used to be Bear Boulevard is now O'Shea Way.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, being able to do something like that. You know, we've been in Springfield so long, and then like now it was like you kind of got to rename one street. I mean, if you own all the properties, and you can write the signatures down. But like I said, I think the vision of where O'Shea is going to be, and making sure we have the right people in place to hold up these core values. And our core values, we've got at O'Shea, we've got all those posters in our office that have like our core values, our processes.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really important we found is like as we grow, the people we hire, we want to share the same core values that my grandparents had, that my dad has, that I have, that the O'Shea family kept. That's super important to us. And I think that if we grow with the right people that share the same core values, everybody sees the same vision. And as long as everybody's moving forward to that, obviously you'll have differences of opinion on certain like topics. There's always hot topics. But as long as everybody's moving forward towards a common goal, I think that's like the most important part. But I think it can also be the most stressful part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. It's tough thinking about that, and especially at that scale.
Yeah. My dad spends a lot of time doing that, and even though like I know a lot of the time, my dad still goes over the contracts for our jobs and just like because that can get you in
reviews, different ones.
Yep, huge.
God, I can't imagine trying to stay on top of all that.
Yeah, like
and many people.
He even does like So we've a lot of these jobs lately. You got to interview for them, which obviously he at one point never did. They just went out for bid, and we'd bid on them.
Yeah.
But like they'll call for an interview, and you got to interview with like 3 other contractors to get the job. But that's mostly been the school projects. But like you got to put together a binder, and they have all these requirements for it. But I know that's stressful as well because you can go in there and think you hit it out of the park, and you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
crazy, man. Well, O'Shea Builders.
Yeah.
Been around for friggin' ever.
Yeah.
I'm over here like, what was it? Your second, third? Like, no, fifth. I'm
yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's been
awesome,
a journey.
man.
And like I said, we are extremely grateful for Springfield and the surrounding communities that have bought into the idea of O'Shea and what we can offer for them. We've got some great clients here in town that like have ultimately become just our friends at this point. And, wouldn't bat an eye whenever they think about who they're going to build with. And so we're super grateful to be a part of the Springfield community, be able to be in a position where I can do stuff where I can give back to the community through O'Shea and use that as like my vehicle to help others.
That's cool, man.
So,
that's cool you get to do that as a position. Hopefully someday we're building, I was joking about building another building right out back over here.
You should. We'll help you level it.
It's going to be right back there is going to be my gym office.
Hire Bo.
Podcast
get him
room.
back there.
Private studio.
What does Joe Rogan have? What's he call that place? The Compound?
I don't know what he calls it now. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. That or get like a bus, like Bussing with the Boys. I always thought that was like a cool atmosphere. They've got like Lazy Boys on this bus that's got like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number on the side. It's so cool. But
I just want a place like. Yeah, I just want people to be able to enjoy themselves. Like, it's so tough because you want to work hard and grow, but you want everybody to enjoy themselves too.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, so.
That's like totally the culture on Fridays at like our office. It was funny last week. Everybody comes around, knocks on cubicles, like ready for a beer, and like. But then everybody gets together and has fun. Yeah, it's a good time. So
that's cool, man. Well, I appreciate the sweatshirt.
Nope, I appreciate you having me on, man.
It's awesome freaking conversation. What,
great place.
Hour and a half, 45.
Holy cow,
good, man! It's one of the longer ones.
I appreciate
that. Goes by
that.
fast, doesn't it?
I'm gonna mandate everybody O'Shea listens to this. I get my
subscribe
views.
And listen. Damn it.
My goal is to have the most views. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll send a mass email through the company like you gotta watch all of this. So, anyway.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for. I know you always shoot me messages and stuff about watching. So
they're great podcasts, man. You've got some great people on here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everything you guys do. And till next time, ladies and gentlemen.